in the nonprofit world. There was a ton I had to learn. And I recognized that I didn't have all the answers, and that was okay. I had a great team around me that could help find the right answer. So that's what it looked like. I mean, it was a lot of learning, a lot of listening, and then really developing a vision for our future.
I had an experience at my one and only duty station in the Air Force. In between deployments, we had a turnover for our flight chiefs, and our new flight chief that was coming in post deployment, and that we were going to then deploy with 6 or so months later. He came in, and for the first 3 months, he stood at the back of formation, never said a word. I watched him have conversations with leadership. Then I watched him have conversations with other crew members, both in our career field and others on the flight line. Obviously, engaged in a couple of those conversations myself. And so then he officially took over. We're getting ready to deploy, and I asked him. I said, Sergeant Tensing, how come you spent so much time not actually saying anything when you first got here? And he said, well, how could I come into an organization that I don't have any experience with? He came from another airframe, right? We're loading fighters, bombers, and he was like, how can I have any impact on an organization if I don't know enough about it first and get to know the people and the processes, and then implement the things that I want to implement, or keep the things going that are going well?
Yeah, I mean, so the one thing I failed to mention was my transition here was right in the middle of COVID as well. So when I arrived, there was the state of Montana was still in a lockdown. The organization wasn't able to do any in-person programming, so they had shifted to a virtual model of programming. Those restrictions lifted about 3 weeks after I arrived at Waters and Quiet Waters, and the first big decision I made was we're going to get out fishing again now. So we totally scrubbed our list of participants that had been on the slate to come, and we started finding veterans that could benefit from the program that were within driving distance, because we had concerns about people getting on flights, and really figuring out how we could do in-person programming in a manner that was safe and effective, given the ongoing challenges of COVID. So pretty proud of the fact that, about 3 weeks after the restrictions in Montana lifted, we had people here in the program out in nature, receiving the benefits from nature. But in terms of making, pursuing that vision that I talked about, it was probably early 2021 before we really started making any big changes. So I'd been here for almost 7 months before I believed that I'd earned the trust of the board, the trust of the staff, to to state a vision that they could get behind, and start doing the hard work that was required to really lead change.